What's up, team? Hey, check this out. We passed the halfway point, baby. We are on week 5 of 8 for the Transformation Challenge. I couldn't be more stoked. This week, I'm going to bring to you something I'm extremely passionate about and something that I have taken a lot of time and a lot of value in getting to the point that I'm at right now. So, week 5. We're going to talk about mindset, right? Mental toughness, dealing with stress, anything that happens up here, we are going to try to talk about this week. So the first topic I want to give 5 minutes of attention to is expectations. First, actually, before I jump in, let me share with you what my expectations are for this week. I plan on releasing a video each week using lessons in my own life that I live by. And I'll break those down into 5 separate things. And then this weekend, hopefully, maybe Saturday or Sunday, we can all jump on a Zoom and then we can chat about the videos that I've released throughout the week, right? So going now into expectations, let's dive right in. Working in a leadership role, I have learned that unclear expectations is one of the biggest sources of conflict in organizations. And it's, one good conversation about expectations prevents 14 why didn't you conversations, right? Some of you on the other line of this, you know exactly what I mean. So expectations are everywhere. They're in your career, they're in your family, they're in your, in church, if that's your thing. They're inside our studio at Orange Theory. Examples, we got manager to staff, we have staff to staff, we have staff to members, we have members to staff, expectations all over the place. This got me thinking, could our expectations of ourselves be off? And if so, how can I relate this to you guys, right? How can we bring this in and tie this into mindset and all that fun stuff? So let me go way back. John Maxwell, who's I've read so many of his books, was actually able to go through his LID program many years ago. He has a training about has your expector expired? And he shares a little corny story that I'll remember the day he told it that portrays exactly what this means. So there's a kid fishing. He's by himself at the pond. And then there's an elderly man fishing across the pond. The elderly man is not catching much at all. And of course, you know how it goes. The kid's catching everything, right? And the elderly man noticed this, but what he noticed was that for every fish that was caught, he would put his hand up next to it. So the kid, you could almost tell from across the pond, was measuring the fish. And what the elderly man noticed that was super weird was it appeared as though he was throwing back in the big fish and keeping the small one. And the old guy, confused because he had never seen anyone keep the small fish and throw back the big ones. You're supposed to do the opposite of that, right? So he walked on over and he asked the kid, hey, I couldn't help but notice, but are you keeping the small fish and throwing back the big ones? And the kid simply responded and said, yes, sir, I only have a 10-inch frying pan, right? So the point of that story is how many of us have a 10-inch frying pan, right? In other words, the size of our expectations can determine what we keep and what we attract, right? So check your expectations, right? Because we all know someone who doesn't have high expectations of themselves. We know that someone probably came to mind. You probably have a name right now. And be careful because you also know that you don't have high expectations for that individual either. Not only do they not have high expectations of themselves, but you don't have high expectations of them either because of that, right? So it's human nature. That's called mirroring. It's human nature to mirror. We are programmed to mirror. If you can't hold yourself to high expectations, don't expect others to as well, right? That's common sense. So nor on the flip side, can they hold you to high expectations, right? So people that can't hold themselves to high expectations will never hold others to high expectations. There's an old Gandhi story. You guys are familiar with Gandhi. And there's a lady in one of his meetings, brought her little boy in and asked Gandhi if he would say, hey, sugar's bad for you. And the lady, said, hey, will you tell my son that, sugar's bad for him? And Gandhi said, you know what? Come back next week and I'll tell him. And next week, she brought back the kid and went up to Gandhi, and Gandhi said, hey, sugar's not good for you. Let's try to cut it out. Let's try to limit it. Mom was now confused as to, well, Gandhi, why didn't you just say that the first week? So she asked, and he said, well, you see, last week I was still eating sugar, and I had to have a week off before I could give advice to a kid that sugar is bad for them, right? That's an example of holding yourself to the same expectations, right? So anyways, could we have poorly communicated? This is where I was going with all of this. Could we have poorly communicated the expectations of ourselves to the point that now we're the ones having the 14 why didn't you conversations internally, right? So right now I encourage you to ask maybe number one, what's working? The first 4 weeks, gone, conquered, crushed, what worked? Write those things down. Could have 3 things, you could have 30 things. Number 2 thing is what's not working. What do you know it's not working? What do you know you're struggling with? What do you need help in? What area, right? Let's keep doing what's working, and let's work together to change what isn't working. Pretty simple. So my first thing that I'm going to go right into is number 1 lesson now, not expectations. That's just something that was on my plate that I figured I would open up the conversation with. The number 1 thing that is on first on my list of 5 lessons that I live by is mind what you tell yourself. So mind what you tell yourself. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this. So beliefs determines your actions, and actions determine your results. You can't argue that. Beliefs determines your actions, actions determine your results. You cannot argue that. Another way to look at it would be your thoughts are a precursor to your words, and your words are actions, and your actions are your character. And that's the reality. That's how people know you, right? So oftentimes, we are always, as a society, especially in the fitness world, we are always so focused on results, 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 that we hinder our ability to ever have progress because we never look at or we never challenge our beliefs. Let me ask you a question. What determines your beliefs? Where do your beliefs come from? Have you ever asked yourself that question? This question was asked for me. This was a part of my training that was done probably 10, 11 years ago. And the answer to that question, what determines your beliefs, is references. References is the answer. And let's throw out some references. You've probably heard before, and the first few that come immediately to mind as I'm sitting here are financial related. And, it's not saying these are right or wrong, but you can probably finish this. Money is the root of, you probably guessed it, all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Probably got that one too. This is a longer one, but one that is very popular. I have to go to school and get really good grades, so then I can go to college, so I can land a good job and be successful. Now remember, I'm not saying I'm not stirring up a debate there or anything. I'm just saying whether they're not true or they are true, we've heard those, thousands of others like it growing up, and we never really questioned it, right? So we all grew up with these references, and we get these references from our parents, our teachers, our coaches, and they are just the beliefs passed down. And then the beliefs passed down from their grandparents, and then the beliefs passed down from their parents, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, right? So now that we know what determines our beliefs, let's talk about a couple of these beliefs. And I call these peanut beliefs. So let me share with you about peanut beliefs. Let me paint the picture first. So I'm at the zoo. This is, 7 years ago, 6 years ago. It's unfortunately, last time I've been at the zoo. Visiting all the animals. I actually thoroughly enjoy going to the zoo. I like watching, I like pondering, fascinated and awed by some, disgusted by others, and we get to where the spider monkeys are. And the spider monkeys, if you're familiar with spider monkey, you know what I'm talking about. If not, pause, go Google spider monkey real quick so you can visualize this. And if you know anything about them, they are loaded with energy. I mean, swinging around all over the place. Boom, boom, boom. They got long, lanky arms and legs. And it dawned on me, like, how in the world do you catch these things? Right? Because from what I can see, from my perspective, it looks like you took a bouncy ball, threw it as hard as you could in a room, and that's what the spider monkeys are doing. So how in the world? So that's what dawned on me. Like, I questioned how they caught the spider monkeys. So, intrigued, I asked. And Lord, wouldn't you know it? Guess what? Spider monkeys, they love peanuts. They love peanuts. In fact, they love peanuts so darn much that they'll choose captivity over freedom. There's a little trap. And as the guy said, so there's a little trap, it's got bars in it, right? The spider monkey can reach his hand in through the bar, grab the peanut, but then he can no longer get his hand back out because the peanut is too big to fit through the bar. Now, if the spider monkey were to let go of the peanut, he's free. He can get his hand out. But when you know it, the spider monkey won't let go of the peanut. He won't let go of it. So I ask you to consider, what peanut beliefs are you still holding on to, right? What beliefs are holding you back? Ask yourself that question. Take some time. Work through it. One more story. Actually, I might have a lot of more stories. Who knows? Just ranting here. But one more story that's coming to my mind is there was a study that was done in 2007. Might have been 2008. It was right when I started college. 2007 or 2008. Anyways, that's not important. So what this story did was it looked at, does the relationship between exercise and health, how is that communicated from the mindset, right? And I might have done a bad job explaining that, but let me tell you about the story. So what the study did was it studied 84 hotel housemates, right? So the keepers at the hotel come in, you know, they vacuum the room, nowadays they disinfect everything, they making the bed, you know, they get the towels, blah, 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 they're straightening up everything. So 84 different house or hotel housekeepers working, and they were spread out amongst 7 different hotels. Now, these women don't view their work as exercise. So all 84 women were asked, do you exercise regularly? 2/3 of them said, no, we do not regularly exercise. With 1/3 of them saying that they don't ever get exercise in. Like ever. Like it's been a significantly long time, years and years and years since they've exercised. So the study focused on what would happen if we changed their mindset and changed what they believed. The ladies were measured before starting on weight. They were measured on body fat. They were measured on blood pressure and an overall assessment on the satisfaction of their job, right? So half of the group was given a 15-minute presentation about how their work is good, exercise. And the Surgeon General came on and said, hey, in a 2-hour period of cleaning, making the bed, all that fun stuff, that qualifies to receive all of the benefits that we have come to know about exercise. And they list the benefits and blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. 4 weeks later, wouldn't you know it, they took measurements again. Nothing changed in the group that was not given the mindset presentation about how their job qualified as exercise. However, what changed in the group that did receive that training was eye-opening. Their weight went down. Their systolic blood pressure went down and it was in a healthier range. Their body fat percentage dropped and their job satisfaction increased, right? A simple 15-minute presentation that challenged and changed their beliefs and which resulted in a physical change, right? It was confirmed. They worked the same number of hours. They didn't start exercising now at the gym down the road or anything like that. So what that study revealed was your mindset matters, right? And now I know immediately where some of us might take this. Don't interpret that as magic or just because you think something or some way that now it's all magically going to happen. That's not it at all. It still requires some work. But when you think about something differently, you start to act differently. And your actions will breed different results. So, in closing, on this topic, here are 2 things that I have always done that have helped me. Like I said, I'm coming to you out of things that's happened to me in my life and personal things that I know have worked, and that's all I can share. So, number 1, bring these things to the surface. Bring your beliefs to the surface. Identify the belief. Write down answers to simple questions. So that's number 1. 2 things that I always try to do is bring them to the surface. Example. Let me give you an example so this is crystal clear on the receiving end of this. So example, let's say, week 5, mindset. Oh, I mentioned stress earlier. Let's use stress. So let's say you're a stressful person. You have loads of stress and you might want to take a moment, write down 5 answers to the following question. Stress is ... Insert your answer. Do it again. Stress is ... Insert your answer. Do it again. Stress is. Maybe you're going to have 5 answers, right? These are small, short answers about the initial gut feelings or the initial beliefs that come to your mind, right? Because we have different beliefs about stress probably. And your answers are going to paint the picture very clear that's going to reveal your beliefs about stress. I would answer that right off the bat. The first thing that came to my mind is stress is the pressure that you need to be stronger or better, right? That's the first thing that came to my mind. It's a privilege to have that pressure because it's getting you stronger and better. Stress is my friend, right? Those are 2 things that you might not have thought of immediately. Those probably weren't the first 2 things that came to your mind. We have different beliefs about stress, right? So do this for whatever you believe or whatever belief you need some clarity on, and hopefully that will help. Number 2 is I challenge where they come from. Number 2, challenge where your belief comes from. Why do you believe that about stress, right? And the example I'll give you is personal about me being shy, right? Many of you don't know me as a person of being shy, but I am. Used to be. Let me rephrase that. So I used to be shy. And, in my research, and it's been a couple of years since I've done this research, but to my knowledge, being shy is not a genetic trait. It's not something that, they have the trait, they're shy. No, that's not it. It's how they're brought up, right? It's from a baby and on. So example, this might not went exactly down like this, but it went around about like this. I'm real young. I'm little. I don't know. I'm 4, right? Aunt Susie comes over, giant Aunt Susie and Uncle Larry, they come over and they want to play because they haven't seen me in 6 months, right? And oh boy, he's grown so much, blah, blah, blah. I'm 4 years old. I just got in a fight with my imaginary friend Tom. Me and Tom, we're in a fight. I'm not happy. Now Aunt Susie and Uncle Larry comes over and bam, now they want to play with me and they're talking to me in this really weird tone and I'm not having it. I'm not happy. I just had a fight with my imaginary friend Tom. And what does your parents say? What does mom say? What does dad say? Oh, he's being shy. Oh, he's being shy. Don't mind him. He likes you. He's just being shy. You might be guilty of it. It's okay if you are. Everybody is. You grow up hearing that. subconsciously as a kid when you're growing. It's deeply rooted. So you think you're shy, right? So I don't know. Maybe it didn't boil down to me in an imaginary fight, with my friend, but it went something like that, right? So challenge where your belief comes from, right? So hope you got something from this first episode. I wanted to get out there that the expectation for the week, put it out there, give you something to focus on for the first day. I will release another video tomorrow about my number 2 life lesson that I try to live by, and that is big doors swing from little hinges. So big doors swing from little hinges. Stay tuned for tomorrow. See you guys soon.